bull riding down south for the Owls in a South Florida showdown against the conference foe.
Plus, men's and women's hoops taking off on Broad Street. We have recaps in the next half hour.
And I'm Tyrone Sharper at McGonigal Hall, where I will tell you all about volleyball hitting the road. A jam-packed episode of OwlSports Update is live, and it starts right now.
Hello everybody. Welcome into a new edition of OwlSports Update. Alongside my friend Sean McGeehan, I am Brian Steinmetz. Another busy week for Temple Sports, including a first road game for the women's team versus a Big Five rival.
And we can't forget about football and a return home this coming weekend versus Tulane. But first, let's talk some soccer as the team is in the midst of a playoff push. It's been quite an interesting season for men's soccer. The team ended the regular season at 7-2, which isn't bad after starting the season 0-3. But with the playoffs here, the Owls hit the road as the 5 seed to take on the 4th-ranked Memphis Tigers, a team that they beat in double overtime earlier this season. And the sequel, very similar to the original. A chilly first-round opener for the Owls down in Memphis. And the Tigers' Sam Ashton gets Memphis on the board first in the 24th minute, 64 whole minutes later, and the Owls strike back. Sebastian Suarez, with less than 2 minutes to play in regulation, finds the back of the net off of the assist from Lucas Fernandez. 1-1, we're heading to overtime. It's in double OT where Jalen Campbell sends the Owls home victorious. Final score after double overtime is 2-1. That's the exact same outcome from the October 12th game earlier this season. Talk about history repeating itself.
That means the Owls move on to the conference semifinals that happened last night against the UCF Golden Knights. Although it seems the team left all its postseason magic in Memphis, as this one got out of hand fast. 1-0 Knights in the 20th minute, and 2 more quickly added before the half ended to make it a 3-goal deficit for Temple at the break. In the second half, Cal Jennings added 2 more goals to give that man a hat trick, and that's all she wrote for Temple's season. They lose 5-0. Tough way to end the year for such a resilient squad.
For the first time in 3 weeks, the Temple football team will enjoy some home cooking with a game Saturday at the Link versus Tulane. The Green Wave is one of the surprises of the AAC this season as a team sits at 6-3 on the year. If you're a mathematician, you know that there's still a possible path to the East Division title for Temple, but more realistically, this game can put the Owls in a better position for bowl season.
2 good days of work so far, some good meetings, some good preparation. We're just taking it one day at a time, learning about what we can control, and right now what we can control is our preparation, how well we know our game plan, and then just making sure that we know it inside and out so we can go out on Saturday, execute it.
If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. I know I always say that, but it's true, and that's basically it. Like, you just got to stay ready, and just I felt like I belong in the moment. So once I'm there, it's like my Super Bowl. That drive every week is like my Super Bowl. So.
You've got 2 bowl-eligible teams coming to the Link, and both should be rested. Tulane is coming off a bye week, and Temple hasn't played in 9 days since taking down USF last Thursday to get that 6th win to become bowl-eligible. There's a good news for Temple. Tulane, not that great on the road, just sitting at 1-3.
Now, to that bowl eligibility thing we've been talking about, it all came together in that trip to South Florida versus the Bulls.
The team was rested coming into the game, and it certainly helped in getting its all-important 6th win.
Yeah, Rod Carey and his squad in prime time going face-to-face with some questionable colored jerseys for the Bulls. And on the first drive of the game, Temple forces a fumble, and they take the momentum early as Sean Bradley comes away with the loose ball. And as for offense in the first half, it was about as dry as the Sahara Desert in early August. Until this, Jagger Gardner springs free down the near sideline for 57 of his 133 yards on the day. That's a career high. He'll get tripped up at the 2-yard line here, setting the Owls up at the 2-yard line, leading to this.
Todd Centeio in at quarterback. He finds Kenny Yeboah for the score, breaking the 0-0 tie on to the 3rd quarter now. Anthony Russo back in at quarterback, but he continues to struggle with the turnovers very badly. He's intercepted by Bentley Sanders, but have no fear. Temple's defense, it has its quarterbacks back. Quincy Roche takes down quarterback Jordan McLeod for a loss of 7, and USF gets forced to punt. Later in the game, Bulls back on offense, and Terrence Horn gets a good pop across the middle from Sam Franklin. And guess who's there to pick it up? The man himself. He gets the pigskin, and he takes it all the way back for a 39-yard touchdown. Owls now lead 14-0 late in the third quarter.
Yeah, once again, the defense stepping up in this game. The very next drive, the Bulls find themselves in the red zone for the very first time in the game, and they absolutely capitalized. McLeod finds his man, Bryce Miller, for the 14-yard touchdown connection to cut Temple's lead to just 7. And after a missed Temple field goal, the Bulls try to drive again, but mama, there goes that man. Quincy Roche takes down McLeod again for one of his 3.5 sacks on the night.
You mentioned 3.5 sacks on the night for Roche. How about 9 total for the entire Temple defense? And here on 4th down, it looks like USF just gives up. The receiver doesn't even try to get the first down marker. Whatever you chalk that play up to, it doesn't matter. Temple wins this one 17-7 to get back in the win column. Temple's defense has been the team's best unit for most of the season, and the matchup versus USF was no different. In prime time, the Owls gave up just 7 points and only 61 rushing yards.
And it even put some points on the board with Franklin's scoop and score. Now, fans saw a lot of defensive scores last season, so to see this one this year must have been pretty refreshing. Another dominant performance for the Owls defense as Temple moves to 6-3.
You said it, win 6. That's the one that basically guarantees December football for the Owls, and for the 6th straight year, the Bulls are eligible.
Joining us now to talk about some potential bowl games for Temple are a couple inside the nest crew members, Brooklyn Vaughn and Dom Gillespie. Hey, guys.
Hi.
What's going on, fellas?
So, guys, the closer a team gets to New Year's for its bowl game, and the better. But Temple still has some work to do in its final 3 games. So how do you see this kind of shaping up? Brooklyn, we'll start with you.
I mean, that's a great question, because a couple weeks ago with these losses to SMU and UCF, we were pretty confused. How was the rest of the season going to pan out? I'm feeling pretty confident looking at this team, knowing that they can win on the road, especially with all of these key injuries. I can see them absolutely winning at home against Tulane this week. If you saw on Tuesday's show, me and Dan we're really standing strong with that one. But then moving forward, Cincinnati on the road. It's going to be a tough game. It's definitely going to be their biggest test of the season. And then after that, UConn should be another pretty sure win for them.
Yeah, the rest of the season could be very interesting for the Owls. If they win out these last 3 games, as you mentioned at the top of the show, there's a chance to win the AAC East and a chance to compete in that conference championship game. But I just think Tulane could be an easy win. Cincinnati on the road is going to be their toughest challenge. I can't really justify a win there just yet. We're going to have to see how they play this weekend.
Temple was in the Gasparilla Bowl 2 seasons ago, and they faced Conference USA opponent FIU, and obviously last season in the Independence Bowl, they took on ACC opponent Duke. What do you guys see this season, a potential matchup?
Well, as we said, there's still 3 games left to play, so whatever we say here will probably be wrong anyway. But I can see the Owls ending up in the Boca Raton Bowl. Rod Carey has ties there. Northern Illinois played there last season. And it's not that I just want to go to Florida, but that would be nice too, wouldn't it, guys?
And, we talked about this again on Tuesday during the show. We had that great screen where we showed every possibility from here on out, what we can see so far, and their opponents, their potential opponents. Of course, it would be great to get down to Florida for them, or Frisco Bowl in Texas, but I really do see a lot of potential with Annapolis, the Military Bowl. And I think, again, another thing I brought up is that would be great for the Owls, because that fan turnout, it's a local game, not too far away, 2 hours at most, so I think that would be another great opportunity for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks so much. Certainly plenty of options on the board for Temple. Unfortunately, we have no other option but to take our first break of the day.
But don't go anywhere. We still have plenty to get to on the other side of the break.
I think of Fran Dunphy, I think of Big 5. That's when I first got introduced to the whole Fran Dunphy era when I was coming up.
A big honor for Mr. Big 5, adding another award to his trophy case.
Plus, men's basketball is back at the Liacouras Center to take on Morgan State. We have the recap coming up. OwlSports Update. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. After a season-opening win against Drexel, the men's basketball team looked to add to its win column.
Yeah, on Saturday, Aaron McKee's Owls took on the Morgan State Bears at the Liacouras Center.
A Saturday matinee for the Owls at the Liacouras Center. Senior captain Quentin Rose gets 2 of his 16 points on this layup, but Morgan State's Isaiah Burke answers right back with a 3 from the corner. That's one of 3 triples on the day for him.
And here's Rose again. No, he gets blocked, but Josh Pierre-Louis, the freshman, comes out of nowhere and slams him home for 2, and now it's Big Brother's turn. Nate Pierre-Louis pulls up from the baseline and gets this 2 to drop back. 19-point games back-to-back for him to start the season.
And J.P. Mormon proving that big man can shoot. He pulls up from the corner to sink this triple as the Owls are starting to run away with it at halftime.
And who's that? On the break at halftime, is that, Sean, is that you? Oh, you missed the layup, but let's get back to the game. Nate Pierre-Louis can show you how to do that. That's how it's done. He drives into traffic to add 2 more points to his box score.
And some bully ball, Jamar Brown battling down low. He finishes with 6 points and 4 boards on the day. And that pretty much does it in this one. Temple runs away with it. They win this one 75-57. This team is now 2-0 to start its 2019 campaign.
If they got open shots, to take those shots and be confident in taking those shots. So
it's just Coach McKee just preaches activity on the defensive end. If we're active with our hands, not fouling, like hands in the passing lanes, then they'll basically give us the ball, and that's what happened tonight. A lot of our bench was great for us tonight, like Jay, Josh, Mont, those guys off the bench. They just helped us a lot.
Team identity, defense and rebounding. I didn't expect anything. I just expected us to win these 2 games. I'm not really a big stat guy. I just focus on winning every single day. I just got to do anything to win.
Well, when you're picking up double-doubles, it's much easier to win. NPL led the team, recording 19 points and 11 rebounds, which was good for AAC and Big 5 Player of the Week awards. And senior Quentin Rose added 16 and 6.
That's win number 2 on the young season for Aaron McKee and company. The Owls go on to play LaSalle on Saturday.
You can tell by the early season numbers, junior captain Nate Pierre-Louis is taking on a much larger leadership role this year. He got those back-to-back double-doubles, and he's just getting started. OwlSports Update's Max Green takes a look.
Nate Pierre-Louis has picked up right where he left off from last season, leading the Owls in more ways than one, not just as a captain, but also on the score sheet.
I'm a hard critic on myself, so I'll say I'm playing all right. I can play a little better, shoot the ball well, but I think defensively I'm playing phenomenal.
The senior point guard leads the Owls in scoring and rebounds through the first 2 games of the season. That has led to him being named AAC and Big 5 Player of the Week.
Nate anchors that defense for us. He spearheads it. You know, we put him on the ball, and the guys just seeming like they're buying into doing so.
Temple men's basketball so far has kept their play pretty constant, getting constant wins and getting a constant play out of their senior point guard, Nate Pierre-Louis, who has notched 2 double-doubles so far this year.
Nothing's easy for me. I work really hard, so nothing's coming easy. I didn't expect anything. I just expected us to win these 2 games.
The Owls are just 2 games into a 31-game regular season. So yes, it's very early. But everyone counts for a team that's been on the bubble come March many times over the last few years. Reporting from the Liacouras Center, I'm Max Green, OwlSports Update.
Good stuff, Max. Thank you. After 2 straight home games, it's time to hit the road. First is a Big 5 game against LaSalle just north up Broad Street. Then the team is getting some sun when it heads to California to take on the Trojans of USC, and a Thanksgiving feast down in Florida this year for the team. The Owls play in the Orlando Invitational from November 28th through December 1st.
Although he isn't coaching in college anymore, former men's head basketball coach Fran Dunphy is still being recognized off the court, whether it be in the stands eating popcorn or by the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. OwlSports Update's Kyle Morello has more.
So far, retirement looks pretty good to Mr. Big 5. 8 months after stepping away from Temple basketball, Fran Dunphy is still racking up victories. Last Thursday, Dunphy added another Hall of Fame award to his list, the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, it's nice to be included with a group of people like this. Again, I think when somebody gives you this kind of recognition, you say, do I really deserve this? So I hope that I do.
Even though Coach Dunphy has had a clear, immediate impact on basketball in the city of brotherly love, his influence has been felt by players all over the country.
When I think of Fran Dunphy, I think of Big 5. You know, that's when I first got introduced to the whole Fran Dunphy era when I was coming up with Big 5 basketball. And, you know, Coach was just there and doing it, and he's Philly.
But it wasn't just the X's and O's that made Dunphy a Hall of Fame coach, or the 580 career wins. It was the impact he's had on his players' lives, helping young adults become men.
You know, I think there's so many people that get involved with helping somebody get older and better and wiser and more mature. And does the basketball coach provide some of that? Yeah, I hope so.
It's the latest award, but likely not the last.
The greatest coach in the history of the Big Five in Philadelphia. Please welcome Fran Dunphy.
Reporting from Rivers Casino, I'm Kyle Morello, OwlSports Update.
Dunphy's latest accomplishment comes on the heels of getting inducted into the Big Five Hall of Fame last April. And who knows, maybe his next stop will be in Kansas City, Missouri for an induction into the College Basketball Hall of Fame.
That would be quite the accomplishment. Not many people have a legacy like Dunphy in all of college hoops.
Yes, certainly not. Unfortunately, just as Dunphy did countless times, though, I'm calling a timeout. Time for another break. After this, we got women's basketball facing off against St. Joe's, and we got the recap coming up after the break.
Plus, a tough trip for the volleyball team coming up. We hear how they manage while being on the road.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Women's basketball started the season strong with a win over Fairfield, and over the weekend they tried their hand at Duquesne. Mia Davis led the way for the Owls with her second straight double-double, recording 26 points and 11 rebounds. Marissa Mackins and Ashley Jones were also in double figures for the Owls. Temple led by 3 at the half, but it was the third quarter when they really started to pull away. They outscored Duquesne by 8 points in the frame and cruised the rest of the way to get their second win of the season. Final score 85-72, Owls on top. 40 of Temple's 85 points came in the paint, and that's a spectacular recipe for success. And just a couple days later, a Big Five battle between the Owls and the St. Joe's Hawks tipped off, and it was a close one till the end. Temple got off to a very slow start, though, scoring only 5 points in the first quarter. It wasn't until the fourth quarter when the Owls got back into the game with an 8-0 run, but it wasn't enough as the Owls lose to the Hawks 67-63 for their first loss of the season.
Sticking with teams that call McGonigal Hall home, let's talk volleyball. The Owls have been on the road for its last 4 matches, the last 2 of which were played over the weekend. First was against UConn on Friday. After the Owls took the first set 25-16, the Huskies retaliate to secure the next 3 sets and send the Owls home with their wings tucked. Next up was a match against the Green Wave down south on Sunday. The Owls won the 3rd set after Tulane grabbed the first 2, but Tulane wins the 4th set and the match and extends Temple's losing streak to 4 matches. It's typical for college teams to travel often, but the volleyball team really racking up some frequent flyer miles.
Joining us live from McGonigal Hall to tell us about their tough travel schedule is OwlSports Update's Tyrone Sharper. Hey, Tyrone.
Hey, guys. From Philly to Cincy, from Cincy to ECU, then back to Philly. Traveling can be tough for any college team, and the volleyball team got a first-hand look at life on the road these past 2 weeks.
27 matches over 3+ months. But it's the last couple of weeks that has been the hardest. Between November 1st and 10th, the Owls played 4 matches, all on the road.
We emphasize on getting enough sleep. You know, we have curfews.
The Owls need any advantage they can get. These last 4 matches included trips to Cincy, North Carolina, Connecticut, and New Orleans.
I just try to be proactive with my teachers and kind of let them know what's my situation with traveling and just staying on top of it.
Staying on top of it isn't easy when you've traveled about 4,500 miles, thanks to 5 plane rides and 2 bus rides.
We have a very thought through itinerary where everything is organized. When we eat out, we pre-order, so we don't spend much time in the restaurant waiting for the food, for example. So little things like that can add up and help you to maximize your time.
There's a lot of emailing with the professors, letting them know the class before, oh, I'm not going to be here, and then following up the next day, oh, I won't be here tomorrow, just a reminder, let me know if there's any in-class stuff that I miss. Making sure that we're staying updated with Canvas.
It is not easy for any college team to travel as much as the Owls did in their recent journey, but as we can see, this is one team that is up for the task.
After traveling 4,550 miles, the Owls haven't had a match in the past 4 days, but now they are home against conference foes UCF and USF over the next few days to wrap up the regular season. Reporting from McGonigal Hall, I'm Tyrone Sharper. Sean and Brian, back to you.
Thank you, Tyrone. 4,550 points on the frequent flyer card. That's not bad, Sean.
No.
It's time for us to travel to our last break of the day.
But still, plenty more to get to in our final block of the show, including a recap from fencing's trip to Wisconsin.
And we will take a closer look at one of the newcomers to the Temple fencing team who had to make quite the adjustment. OwlSports Update. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. The Temple fencing team competed in the November NAC in Milwaukee over the weekend. Margarita Calderaro tied for 19th in epee after fencing in 3 elimination bouts. Her freshman teammate Sarah Park was eliminated in the second round. Zoe Turner concluded action for the Owls on Saturday in the saber competition. She finishes 47th out of 214 total fencers. If you take a look at the fencing roster, you'll notice 15 competitors and not one from PA, New Jersey, or Delaware. Instead, there's Oregon, Alaska, Texas, Washington State, Colorado, and even overseas in South Korea.
Joining us now to talk more about the cultural struggles one student in particular faces is Han-Wook Nam at the Plasma. Hey, Han-Wook.
Hey, guys. It's been 2.5 years since freshman epee Sarah Park came to the United States from South Korea. A 14-hour flight and a severe time difference is difficult for most, but Park is handling all of these challenges while also competing at a very high level. Look at Temple's roster, and you'll see so many different players from so many different parts of the country. Some of them are from the East Coast and from the West, but not all of them come from the United States. Freshman epee Sarah Park has the longest trip to Temple. This means that she leaves a lot behind in South Korea, where she's from.
As a Korean, I miss my mom and my dad who are in Korea, and I miss Korean food. Like JNH and Morgan, they don't have Korean food.
Living in the US might be tough, especially when you're a foreigner, but Sarah is often at ease. In fact, she puts herself out of the comfort zone to become fluent at English.
I try to hang out with people who speak English instead of who speak Korean.
As a result of being athletic and open-minded, she has a strong reputation on the team.
Sarah's a very open person. She just loves everyone, so she got very attached very quickly. And it's my job to get close to the freshmen and get close to everyone on the team as a captain.
We've been very pleased since she's been here. She's worked very hard. She's improving. She's very coachable.
Despite the fact that she's from South Korea, 14 hours away by flight, this does not let her hold back from being one of the best on the team. In fact, she finished 15th out of 81 epee fencers in Temple Open, which was one of 2 meetings so far this season. That's right, 15th out of 81 in her first ever meet as a Temple Owl. Park will join the elite meet at Penn this weekend as she looks forward to more success. Reporting from Plasma, this is Han-Wook Nam. Sean and Brian, back to you.
All right, Han-Wook, thank you so much. With that, it's now time for our Twitter poll of the week. All of this bowl eligibility talk has us wondering what you think.
Head over to our Twitter page and vote on which bowl game you would like to see Temple take part in. Certainly some intriguing locations there, Sean.
Plenty of locations indeed, but that's going to do it for this edition of OwlSports Update. Tune in next Tuesday for another episode of Inside the Nest with Brooklyn Vaughn and Dan Wilson.
And of course, follow us on all of our social media at OwlSports Update for updates on all things Temple sports. For Sean McGee and I am Brian Steinmetz. Have a great weekend, everybody.